This episode may contain mature content. Listener discretion is advised. Content warnings can be found in the episode description.
Hey, we are the Lab Doctors. I'm Amanda.
I'm Dorothy.
And I'm Zhao Yong.
We are biomedical researchers who realized we still have a lot to learn about science.
So why not join us on this quest?
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Lab Doctors podcast. Today we are going to be talking about
Incest.
I think I just blew my
That's fine. When you compress it will be fine, right?
Yeah, it'll be fine, but I'm like, what?
So, incest, yes, and genetic issues with incest.
Okay.
So, why I thought about this topic is because I saw this video on Facebook about this fertility doctor that used his own sperm to impregnate women who came to his clinic.
Ethics.
As in, this is not for scientific reasons. This guy was just a pervert.
I don't know. So apparently, I think this is either 1970s or 1990s. I can't remember the year. But it's quite long ago. So the children are already like maybe 50 or 40 years old.
Right. Yes.
So at that point of time, like many years ago, it's not required. Actually, even nowadays, it's not required for you to know who the sperm donor is because the sperm donor is
Confidential.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, but it's regulated though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think
As in like, this can't happen now, right?
I hope so.
Wait, so was he a pervert or was he just donating his sperm? Yes.
We shan't judge.
Yeah, going back to the
It's for the narrative.
Yes.
outcome, which is that there are now many people carrying his genes that are in their 40s and 50s.
Correct.
Okay.
So the problem was that this was in a small town. So then people realized that when they grow up, they start looking like they see someone else and they're like, you really look like me.
Oh my
So
god.
apparently this doctor, his genes are quite strong lah, for whatever reason. Like he has very short hands, short fingers on his hands. So
Okay.
when people start looking like each other, then they go and ask about like their parenthood and everything. And then the mothers all say like, oh, I went to this clinic. And then after that, they slowly manage to trace back that it's like from him because he will ask them like, so that this fertility doctor will ask them like, show me your hands. And then if they have like the very short fingers, then he's like, yeah, you're most likely
From this.
Oh my goodness, this is some Netflix level drama.
Yeah. Okay, so now this is a problem because if they didn't know that they are related in a small town, high chance you'll meet someone who is,
Compatible.
yeah,
That you think is compatible. I
yeah.
guess.
Oh, it's
And you wouldn't
so
know it's your
compatible.
half-sibling. So I was concerned about the genetic problems that would arise from incest or mating with a partner
Who is related to you?
closely
related to
Yeah.
you.
Okay, so the definition of inbreeding is the mating of organisms that are closely related by ancestry. This goes against the biological aim of mating, which involves the mixing of DNA or the recombination of DNA from both the male and the female parent to produce an offspring that will be more unique genetic makeup that is contributed by two genetically different parents. Okay, so I thought of an analogy. So let's say we have two chefs. Each have their own recipes. They meet and exchange ideas. So now they can make new recipe books consisting of an integration of recipes from the fellow chef friend. Okay, so our DNA is made up of 23 pairs of chromosomes, and these would be like your recipes in the recipe book to make your food. Each chromosome comprises of thousands of genes, and different genes determine different aspects of you, like your hair texture, your eye color, or your blood type, and etc. So each gene has two copies known as alleles, and you get one allele from each parent. And I don't want to go too much more into the analogy, but your alleles could be like the ingredients that you can use to cook.
Right.
So if the two alleles differ from one another, the dominant one will be expressed and the recessive one will be masked. So for example, classic example is like eye color. Brown is dominant while blue is recessive. So if you have two brown alleles, your eye will be brown. If you have one brown, one blue, your eye will still be brown because the blue one will be masked because it's recessive. And you will need two blue alleles to get blue eyes. Okay, so just now we talked about like hair color, eye color, and blood type. And those might not be super crucial. What about genes that determine genetic disorders? So defects and genetic diseases are usually carried by recessive alleles. And inbreeding will increase the chances of someone getting two recessive alleles and therefore increased likelihood of carrying the disease. So example, back to the fertility doctor. Okay, let's say he has the recessive allele for hemophilia. So this is a disorder where your blood cannot clot. Then he will pass it down to maybe half of his children, and they will now be carriers.
Carriers meaning they have one dominant and one recessive.
Yeah. And let's say 2 of these children grow up and they have kids. They might actually pass on the recessive allele from each side to their offspring, who would then have 2 recessive alleles for this hemophilia phenotype.
1 in 4 chance.
Right.
Yeah. So I don't know if like there was some royal family that had this problem, but like last time in secondary school, we always learn about this classic genetic tree, right?
Historically, when people want to preserve royal blood, like either in ancient Egypt or like
European countries.
Yeah, European countries. And then they try to keep everything within a family, and that's why a lot of recessive disorders are like presented in offspring over many generations.
Yeah.
So it's actually bad because females, especially once you hit puberty, you would have menstruation, right? And then you just bleed to death.
Oh my. Damn.
Wasn't this the conclusion from our science textbooks?
I can't remember.
That like inbreeding is bad.
Genetically.
Yeah, dangerous.
Genetically, there may be concerns.
Yeah.
So imagine like this was one of the disease he was carrying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like this hemophilia example is clear because you can see it, but it might be those like maybe diabetes, things that you cannot see.
Yep.
And you won't know until like you hit a certain age.
Yep.
Okay, so that's about humans. Then I thought we'll talk about breeding in animals.
Oh, right.
Okay, so what animals do you all know that is?
Cheetahs.
Cheetahs?
Yeah, cheetahs are like severely inbred.
Not cheetah.
Cheetah.
I thought like someone who cheats.
Oh no.
Like the spotty
The running
animal.
cat. The very sexy cat.
Okay, cheetahs. What else?
I don't know.
You don't know? Okay, I will tell you then.
I mean, like, probably mice and rabbits are also severely inbred, right?
Yes. Okay,
Yeah.
so I'll go into mice and rabbits later. But yeah, some general ones would be like inbreeding racing horses, so that you get 2 winning horses and then you meet them and then hopefully they get more horses, offspring that can run very fast.
Right.
Or inbreeding cows that have high milk production. So this could be in the farming industry, or even like sheep with wool, like that produce a lot of wool.
Basically for capitalism.
For humans.
Yeah.
Dogs also, I guess, if that's the case.
Purebreds.
Okay, dogs are coming.
Yay.
Yay.
So to us researchers, right, I was thinking about like how inbreeding is actually done in our mice, because like when we breed the mice, then it's like the brothers and sisters, then we just put them together when they are like old enough, and then they'll produce more mice for us. And I'm like, this is just incest.
I mean, it's not because we are perverts, but it's because we want their genetic profile to be matched and the offspring.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's why we breed it like that. We are not perverts.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know in the breeding facility, but like, cause so much I want to say about like maintaining their genetic identicality.
Similarities in it.
Trying to minimize the variation from mouse to mouse so that you actually don't need to test on so many mice.
Yeah. You're kind of balancing like ethics, which is tough, but also that's why we have an institutional review board to tell us what is the most ethical thing to do.
Yeah, everything just sounds unethical, but we're just trying to be the most ethical.
Exactly.
We're trying our best, basically.
Personally, like when I see the mice, right, usually I don't see any genetic defects visually.
Right. Yes.
So I'm like, actually, if it's so highly inbred, right, compared to like few cases in humans, right, then how come I don't see any genetic defects? So I was reading up, and apparently like mice with defects are observed once in a while in one of the most well-known mice breeding facilities known as the Jackson Laboratory.
Right.
And I don't know if it's like cause they just take out that mouse and obviously they don't send it to us. They would send us like good mice, right?
Yeah.
So but yeah, it's evident that it's there once in a while.
Right.
And like you said just now, it takes generations sometimes for these things to manifest.
Okay, and I don't know if y'all heard that like our research mice are unlikely to survive in the wild.
Right. I thought they are like legally not allowed.
Yeah, legally they're not allowed, but I think if you bring home one secretly somehow, they're not allowed as well.
Yeah.
They might just die.
Oh.
Okay, so basically all research mice, they are kept in a controlled environment. That means they are given like proper lighting, clean food, sterile water, everything. And this is also important because they are so genetically identical, right? That if there's a disease that spreads, everyone will just die. Cause like that means everyone is susceptible to that same disease.
Right. Yeah.
So apparently this is the same for the koala population in Australia, I think, where like there's so much inbreeding to maintain the population that there's like 2 major breeds, and if there's a disease, they might just wipe out the koala population.
Yeah. And that's the I don't know if benefit is the right word, but one of the pros of genetic diversity, which is that when you have very different and unique individuals within a species, then there isn't this like one environmental or virus, virus is environmental.
Virus is relevant to today's society.
Exactly. One factor that can just wipe out an entire species because, there'll always be that maybe one or two genetically different individuals that can survive that environmental effect.
Yeah.
Okay, so then let's go lastly into dogs. Yeah, because like researchers now sound like the bad guys. So what about people who own dogs? Not that I want to bring you down, but like...
like the purebred, right? We're talking about people who are like, follicular purity is very important in my choice of animal.
They pay like a lot. Yeah, no, I know someone who paid like 26,000 for a purebred.
So people inbreed dogs, for example, to keep the sausage bodies of your Dachshund, which is very cute. I like Dachshunds.
But
yeah, they have back problems, I think.
Yeah, and like leg problems, right? They get arthritis very easily.
Yeah.
That's so sad.
The spots on your Dalmatian, or to have the flat wrinkly face on your pug.
Oh yeah, pugs
are the worst.
Pugs
are the worst.
I think pugs have like some breeding problem, right? And like they're just repeatedly having mucus on their face or something.
And but people want pugs, so they will continue to breed.
Why? It's quite ugly.
And if you actually look at x-rays of pugs, you can see how their jaws are actually very malformed also, and they actually go through a lot of pain.
Oh my.
Because their jaws are malformed and their like nose and snouts are also malformed.
You mean when they're old, is it?
I can't remember if it's old or like in general they're just in a lot of pain.
Yeah, and they don't even look that cute.
They don't look cute to me, but they look cute to some people. But that's why there are also organizations that are out to end the breeding of pugs. And so hopefully we can stop this, practices.
Yeah.
And there's actually research being done on like the inbred dogs versus outbred dogs. And basically, like, obviously there's evidence that dogs that are not inbred would be healthier than dogs that are inbred.
Naturally.
For sure, yeah. And so there's this Danish-Swedish farm dog. Okay. So they are very clever dogs used for like farming. I don't know what they do, like chase these farm dogs have a low level of inbreeding and actually one of the healthiest breeds among those that are studied, like across 50,000 over dogs.
Wow.
Of 227 breeds. So yeah, basically incest and inbreeding is not that good because it just goes against the principle of human mating and stuff like that. So,
or rather just reproduction in general.
Yeah, reproduction.
Yeah.
And
cool. Is that the conclusion for incest?
I guess we can go back to the... So what do you feel?
At the end of the day, I don't think anyone is out to like have a child and like put that child through a lot of suffering. So it's just like one other thing to consider. Like say so even for example, if you mate with someone who is not your relative, but both of you have the same genetic disorder, this is something that you have to, or like a carrier of like a certain condition. It's something that you have to discuss also. And that's why there are genetic counselors out there. It's not just incest. So like in that sense, like that's the part I think I would be more concerned about rather than like the socially like acceptability of incest, but more like the concerns that you might have when you decide to reproduce.
Agreed. I think what is important is about that genetic counseling and that figuring out what are the chances of like having whether or not that child would have more or less suffering in this world when they are released. Yeah. Find out more.
Yeah.
Think about it a bit more before you choose to have a child rather than it's just like, oh, I want a child because it's cute. Oh, a small me is cute. Look into it a bit more.
I mean, like as responsible humans, we should be thinking about it. So
yeah, I guess not just for our children, but also for the pets or animals that we choose to have around in our lives. Adopt, maybe don't shop. And as usual, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Yes. And follow us on Spotify. A like and a comment will really help us out. If you can give us a rating on anywhere that you listen to this, that would be great as well. Hopefully we didn't offend.
Yeah, we hope we don't offend anyone, including researchers, fellow researchers, and anyone who likes pedigree dogs. It's your choice, but yeah, we have just laid out what is for you. So you can also follow us on social media, Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook, and feel free to DM us any questions.
Alternatively, you can email us at thelabdoctors@gmail.com. We'll post the links in the episode description so you can check that out. Thank you.